Yeah, man, we're there upon the third class again, Another reasoning, insightful, thought provoking
Hmm.
reasoning, some that might sit well with some viewers, and some thoughts might go against what some viewers think, but we are Africans and we think differently because Africa is dear to the third class and it means everything to us. So our perspective is guided by African traditions and African principle. Yeah, man, what the item I deal with?
Yeah, give thanks, nigga. Another day above ground. Give thanks
Yeah,
for
give
life.
thanks for life. I think you know.
Yes, sir. Big up, Dada. Look
Yeah.
like him get beat up in a domino first night, so
Yeah, management.
it take its toll on him. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I'm
yeah.
out domino bad man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, this week we see an interesting story that made the headline, and it had some people scratching their head. But for us, this is nothing new and nothing has changed. We've seen where the global wildlife trafficking and the surprise underworld of ant collectors has worn its ugly head in Kenya. And this is a reminder that even the smallest creatures can spark the biggest questions. So let us get into the reasoning. Bingy is gonna tell us about this story that break this week.
So I was, just reading articles online and I found this story and it said the headline is Chinese national arrested over attempt to smuggle 2,000 queen ants from Kenya. And we want to put it in perspective too as far as Africa is concerned, right? Everything that Africa has, the rest of the world wants. Everything. When I say everything, everything. And it's sad, right? So now you have this national who's been caught trying to smuggle 2,000 queen ants. But what does that really mean, right? You're not even and in Kenya, queen ants are protected by law, right? Because now you're dealing with the ecological thing, something that contributes to its ecological environment, its natural environment as being native to that part of the earth as well. There are real repercussions when things like these keep happening, right? But you really think about it, man. You as a country have to protect even your ants. Even your ants. You have to have a law protecting your ants. That's a dread thing, when you really sit down and think about it.
Bingy, Bingy, it's important that we let the viewers know that these ants are known for their size and their
Yes.
gathering behavior, how they work within their colony in the
Colony.
Yeah,
ecosystem.
yeah, the article, Bingy.
Huh?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
article. Can
I
you
do.
read it a bit? So you can
I,
understand
I,
context.
I could read some of it. A Chinese national has been arrested in Kenya's main airport accused of attempting to smuggle more than 2,000 queen garden ants out of the country. Zhang Ki- Kikwan Kikwan was intercepted during a security check at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in the capital, Nairobi, after authorities discovered a large consignment of live ants in his luggage bound for China. He has yet to respond to the accusation, but investigators said in court that he was linked to an ant trafficking network that was broken up in Kenya last year. The ants are protected by international
Bingy,
biodiversity treaties, and their trade is
you have
highly regulated.
large collectors,
Go on, Yaga.
you have a large quantity of people who are collectors of these rare species and these ants
Yes,
in Asia and Europe.
yes,
So these are the markets, but this one was destined for Asia and it was concealed, carefully
yes,
concealed in some test tubes and tissue rolls.
yes, yes. Smuggling. He's smuggling, right? He's a poacher.
Yeah, man.
That's what he is. He's a poacher, right? Let's be real. That's a poacher too, right? That's what he really is. But think about this too. Even though we see in this, right, we know there's a market because the article also states that there is trade that is allowed. So there's a legal trade as well, that the government allows ants to be traded under. There's a legal trade also for these ants. So you you keep wondering, man, what it is in Africa, right? Africa is so well equipped, dudes, that the rest of the world, everything, when I say everything, whether it's soil, minerals, whatever it is, man, they take from the land. Like they constantly take and take and take. And we see this not only happening with ants, but everything else. But they take to the point where these things become extinct. Now they change the whole ecological makeup or the biodiversity that's happening within their native surroundings, right? So that is the question. When do these things stop? Because when these men start doing the so-called poaching and stealing, we have noticed a trend, we have noticed a trend where extinction also happens. We could look at we could look at rhinos in the wild. We could look at different type of animals in the wild because of these type of activities that are going extinct or have gone extinct. Like where does it stop? And why do these governments even think it necessary to even have some open door trade when it comes to these animals or these,
Them have a lot of
these
ants, man.
insects?
Them have a lot of ants, man. Ants are in abundance, so you can get rid of some of them morally, So there's a business to
But I
be
think that's
gained.
that's that's what they say about everything else.
I don't think there's no moral thing to be taking any animal out of its natural habitat and carry it to another habitat where it's not used to, where because we see the repercussion of this. We see the
Mhm.
all over the world where animals are moved, or animal insects or whatever are moved from one place to the next, and it causes catastrophe because it is not because people just move them because these ants are moved because they want them to be pets in
Mhm.
in in Europe and in Asia. They have them as pets, right? Then one of them, what how will happen is one of them get away, or the people don't want them anymore and throw them away, and then they go into that environment and wreak havoc on the environment because what I mean, maybe the species that are there that used to them. And I say that that's what happened with this, and we see those things happen with other um, insects and animals and
And
before.
reptiles. Yep.
That's why things should stay in their natural habitat. You know what I mean? I'm going to talk about Africa. Outsiders, non-Africans. Man Bingi was reading earlier. And it seems like non-outsiders, they're the only thing that they see with Africa, or the only vision they have with Africa is how can I go into Africa and take out something? Everybody from everywhere, they come to Africa. What can I take out of Africa? What can I steal? You know what I mean? What can I
Mhm.
bring home? And it's the history. outsider's issue with Africa is to go into Africa and take out something. We talk about, you know what I mean? We talk about slavery. Go from the Arabs to the Europeans. To know you have where the slavery hen and they start taking out the animals. No, they're taking out the insects. They take out the birds. You know what I mean? They take out the soil, the trees. Their connection with Africa is what they can take from Africa. And we go back to the borders. The borders are not protected. We have to stop it. We have to stop somewhere. There cannot be no moral taking out of Africa. You want to see these hands? Come to Africa to see it because it's African. It's not supposed to be in Europe. It's not supposed to be in Asia. It's African. So if you want to see it, you come to Africa to see it. You want to see a lion? A lion is African. It's not supposed to be in Europe. Come to Africa to see a lion. Or what any one of these animals or insects or whatever who is African. Come to Africa to see them because they are African. Yes, I.
Here, Brother Dulan.
Brother Dulan,
Yes, rise up. Rise up,
Yes,
great
sir.
ones. Rise up.
Yes,
Great
yes.
discussion for the last few weeks, years, and
Yeah,
I've
man,
been
we are look here.
observing.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
just timing, man. Timing, time zone, and
Yeah.
priorities, You don't know it already.
No
But,
time like
yeah,
now,
man.
Brother Dulani.
Eh?
No time like now. Now
I
is
see it
always the
there.
time.
No is the
Yeah,
time.
tell 'em,
Yeah.
man.
No, the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when they are reason about the giant African
Queen
and
Anne.
Brother Dulani, and the man them are smuggle some queen out of the colony, And the queen, if you remove the queen from the colony, it will destabilize the colony
It'll
because
collapse.
It
Mhm.
destabilize the
that is the
dead man.
reproductive core. That is the reproductive core of the
Mhm.
colony. So it will go
Mhm.
collapse. It will go have some detrimental impact on the
Mhm.
Yes.
colony. And we are going to see population reduce. So we probably have to call back for them ants there to come and improve the population again because
Yes.
we have a problem. We're in a
Yeah.
crisis now. As we can see in many parts of the world, we have a human crisis there where there's a reduction in population and leaders are calling on their population to come back home and reproduce and improve the population. So that situation that the ants them find themselves in
Well,
a
so
right
I think
about
the
now.
bee, I think the bees was in a similar situation at one
Yes.
stage as well.
Mhm.
And but so the African ants are the baddest ants in the world, You don't know that already, Them the ants
Yeah, man.
they no play. Even the African bees and the
Mhm.
African hornet and the
The only
African
the only the
wasp.
only the only the only bees.
Yeah, man, they not play.
Mhm.
They
And
swarm
one
them.
of the things that is also unique about them, you see when they are in captivity,
Yeah,
it's like them survival mode increase. So they really
yeah.
know how to survive
They're
in
Mhm.
not
a
The
normal.
captivity
resilience. That true
as our
Yeah,
African.
true African knows how to
yes.
survive
Resilience.
when they are in captivity.
Overcome
Resilience.
great difficulties.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons that makes them so in demand.
Okay,
But it's
okay.
sad. But it's sad. And I tell you why.
Yes,
When you see anything in its natural environment, it's only then you could really appreciate it.
yes,
It's
yes.
only
I
then
mean,
can you really appreciate it. But it's sad that what happens in Africa day in, day out. And it's the pillaging. And from the time we know history to be written, and the African has been mentioned, that's all we see. All we see
mhm.
is pillaging, pillaging,
Yes.
pillaging. And, and, and,
From
and
that
at every
time,
point, they saying there's plenty. But then there are points when it comes when we talk about extinction as well. So there's plenty for the moment, and then it becomes extinct. And we have
And
yes,
that's
seen that
and being
time
it,
and time and time again. Roots.
and that's why I say it's outsiders. That's the history. That's their history, with Africa,
History.
because that's
Yes.
their
mhm.
history with Africa. Their history with Africa
Take.
is taking out of Africa. There's
Mhm.
always taking something out of Africa. What is like?
Extraction.
What can I take out of
Mhm.
Africa?
Mhm.
So it's the same
Yes.
thing now. This
Yes,
a Chinaman just come and say, You know what I mean? Watch anyone reach Africa, fear take out ants, smuggle out ants. And it's the same thing with all of them come to see what I
Yes.
can steal from Africa. You know what I mean?
It, uh,
Yes, sir.
it is now up to us now to preserve the biodiversity of Africa and also the natural resources. I think this all tie in. The whole extraction of the resources, and not only resources. I mean, the first bio extraction was
Right.
the human beings.
Yeah,
See it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
then now them go to the mineral, now they gone to the plant life and now the
Mm-hmm.
animal life. And I know enough of them zoos across the world is full of African
African animals.
animals and them sitting there. See, so we have to put up a great protection or defense for the whole diversity of African resources to be protected.
Yes,
We
Mm-hmm.
sir.
have to. And these
And
are
the
some of
way
the
it's
things
set
where
up.
the African Union can champion. We don't
Mm.
need permission to do these things. See
But
it.
we have to take charge of our own, right, Brother Fulani? Because
That's
even
correct.
when you go to the motherland and you go to national parks, right? The people
Hmm.
who represent in these parks and is highest in these preservation society are white people, right? And Caucasians, and you keep wondering why. Why are Caucasians always at the head
Yeah,
of our own thing? Like we don't know it better than they do.
yeah. You,
Those are
you,
the
you
things
see,
we
my
have to
brother.
take charge of.
Yeah, I'm building a thesis around African vulnerability, and I'm going to be building on that. All of
Yes.
these things was based on was rooted in our vulnerability. The crippling of enslavement and colonialism have left us so vulnerable that say the biggest safaris them in Africa and the companies them are owned by white people,
Yes, I.
and they
Yes.
employ more people than probably any other company in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're vulnerable at the end of direct enslavement, and even at the end of colonialism, they were the one who came with the resources and the money and the organization and put the business together. And now they got
Mm-hmm.
branches all over the world and they are benefiting from it. The hotels, the tour guides, the car rental, the whole nine yards, they are the one who's that whole ecosystem. They are the primary beneficiary. The only benefit them can them accord us is to become their workers and their servants in these institutions that they have built.
Hmm.
And that is something that,
That
you
is
know,
what
I,
must change.
yes, and because our ancestors was in a vulnerable position, they was able to take advantage of that. And we have to come set the record straight and say we cannot continue this unfair arrangement. See it because when you take advantage of people, you set the stage for the future. And if we don't intervene and reset the groundwork from now, it's going to continue to just compound and get worse and worse. And the inequality will continue, and the extraction will continue. And they will be the beneficiary,
All the
the
time.
primary beneficiary. Yeah, man, it's a serious situation
It
we find
is.
himself in.
But we have to come to some kind of consensus on how we move forward though, because we witnessing it and we witnessing it now even through programming, right? How these
Hmm.
invaders, these colonizers, how they come in and they put themselves at the head of everything. We see it, right? We see the
Hmm.
psychology. How do leaders, people who run these in countries and supposedly in charge now, see these things and actually affect change? Put things that would change it. Instead of you having a Caucasian run your national park, have
Hmm.
an indigenous man run your national
Radical
park.
radical transformation is necessary, my brother. A
It
lot of
is.
those entities, I mean, I'm going to say this, it may not sound palatable to a lot of people, but we have to nationalize a lot of these things because they belong to the country, they belong to our people, and we were taken disadvantage of. You see, Once we can challenge the foundation of the injustice that was done to our people, we have the moral grounds to nationalize a lot of these entities and now transition into appropriately into the hands of our people in the right way, not from a
Yeah.
position of vulnerability, but from a position of strength. They have bamboozled us. They have rigged the game from the beginning. So anything we do now, we see like we are the bad guys now, We are the one who are causing trouble and problem because we now see what they have done and the whole table have been set against us.
Mm-hmm.
So from now on, all we can do is seek some kind of, at best, some employment or position within the structure that they have set up for their own benefit. But we need to transform that because our eyes are opening to see that the whole system, the economic arrangement is being rigged against us
Mm-hmm.
and rigged against our grandchildren and our unborn. And unless we do radical transformation, revolutionary transformation, we will just continue to maintain the same system.
You know, I was watching a thing coming out of Nigeria earlier on in the week, and it came
Amen.
about because of the oil crisis that
Mm-hmm.
was going on. And the general manager for Dangote oil refineries was making a statement, and it was interesting to notice that the general manager was not an African. And the point that Brother Dulani made to say that we don't only need to have Africans in the lowly skilled jobs. We need them to have the highly skilled jobs in these institutions as well. And this must be a priority from African governments, from the African Union and all the blocks that are within Africa. And with the high level of unemployment of African youths today,
Mm-hmm.
with these vision and these foresights, if they are implemented, we'll see more people being employed and more jobs being created, because there's no doubt in my mind that an African can't do the job that these people are doing. When in every sphere, everywhere over the world, you see Africans. Every development you can think about, there's an African at the heart of it. You name it. If there's not an African that play a role in it, it doesn't exist. Because
I would go further, Yaga. I would say when you consider modern history, modern technology, Africans have played the most important part in the development of what we call technology and modern development. Africans.
and you see, the thing about that, if you ask most people to name a scientist or an inventor, African inventor, they
Mhm.
can't. They can't, because those things are not taught in school.
Mhm.
And now, with the development of social media and the internet, we see more information is coming up, but people are still not interested in those kind of things because they are more comfortable with what they already know. But I think that personally, if you can identify with someone like you who is doing it, you will see yourself as someone who can achieve that, and you'll be emboldened to know that someone has trod that path before you, so it's not impossible. And we
Mhm.
need to teach the youth them about some African scientists and African great one. And Brother Dulani, I don't know if you want to give us a quick run through of some notable master teachers and scientists in the African world, so people are aware of some of these people.
Me no
Well,
want to go too far from the trafficking, Because you see, the trafficking out of Africa, where got we in this situation, or in a,
Mhm.
where people not have no, them not have no respect for Africans. It all start with trafficking. It all start with trafficking people out of Africa.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It are with the Arabs and the Europeans trafficking
Mhm.
people out of Africa, right? And it has continued because people are still trafficking out of Africa because they talk about the human trafficking now, them call it. It's same slavery now, but them call it human trafficking now. You know what I mean? But them
Mhm.
still traffic people out of Africa to do all they look things where them want to do, them Epstein there. Them and them people
Mhm.
them
These
come out
are
of Africa.
organized. These are
Very.
organized rings, you know.
But it has always been organized rings. When the English was
Mhm.
doing it and the Portuguese were doing it, they were organized
It's a
things.
global conspiracy.
Yeah,
Right.
taken to Africa. And it's the same thing. Because just like oh, them take out people out of Africa to be slaves, it's the same way them take out the animals them out of Africa to be slaves. They are work for them
Mhm.
that them zoo to make money off of them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
So them take the animals them and enslave them just like how them enslave the people them. And we as African, we protect everything African. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
don't want with animals and be slave woman and believe that them natural habitat and be free that them natural habitat just like how we want ourselves to be free. The animals them be free too and live that them natural habitat and not be in some zoo somewhere. You know what I mean? Because remember, you know, they do
Mhm.
the same thing with the people them, you know. They take them and have them
Mhm.
in zoo to be attraction for them, you know. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I see the with the animal them, I take them have them as zoo. And just like how we have to protect people them, I have to protect the animals them, protect the insect and the birds them. You know what I mean? Because they are Africans. You know what I mean? And then the same
Mhm.
lack of respect what them show to us as human beings, the same lack of respect them show to the animals them, have them beat them and have them do stupid tricks to
Mhm. Mhm.
entertain, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Entertain themselves. You know what I mean? So we talk about the borders, protecting the borders. So these things are not so easy because it's too easy to keep
Because
these people.
you see,
Go on,
Natty,
brethren.
you see, like the reserve them that we have in Africa, they cover a wide span of land,
Widespread.
Yeah.
Just like how we spoke about the Fulani have this wide area
Mhm.
for roam.
Mhm.
The natural habitat of Africa have this wide expanse where it's naturally preserved, even
Mhm.
though there's protection in place to protect human being, our children. These places are very natural. And
Mm-hmm.
you know they have the vehicle where them drive in and people can go and look and all them things there.
Mhm.
But what they are trying to tell us is that we're not capable enough
Yes.
of
Yeah.
Yes.
maintaining our
Yeah.
own.
Yes. Yes.
It's the same argument they use with the artifacts,
Yes.
saying that it is better for them to take care of the
Mhm.
artifacts. So our tigers now are so rare and precious that only they can protect our tigers and only
Mhm.
they can protect our elephants. Because our
Mhm.
elephants are so precious, and if we lose them, boy, the biodiversity of the planet will be damaged forever. But
Mhm.
only they feel that they have the capability. It's the
I wonder
same.
how they learn. I wonder how they learn to do that, Brother Dulani, when they don't have any of
I,
those things
I,
themselves. How
I,
did
I
they get
want
to
to know.
study these
Right.
behaviors?
I want to know
Right.
too, because them say the African lion is endangered, and they are the one who better equipped and
To protect it
better
and save
able
it.
to preserve them.
But
We have been living with these lions for thousands of years, and we never had
Yes.
a problem.
No
never have
problem.
a problem
No
and the
problem.
lion was striving. But I'm saying the,
Driving.
the problem only we only had this problem when Europeans start settling in Africa and start going
Mhm.
into Africa. That's when the problem start presenting
They
out.
have killed probably more of the wildlife in Africa than anybody.
And that's
Yeah.
where I want to go to because they can be the protectors of animals when
You're
they
killing
get
all the
some kind of
animals.
job. And Bingy was reasoning earlier. I talk
Mhm.
about
Yes.
our man, our human being can go to Africa and see a majestic animal like the elephant, a beautiful animal like the
And the
rhinoceros, and
Right.
your task is to kill this animal
gun him
because
down for him tusk,
him
for
tough.
him
Mhm.
You think
ivory.
it's a majestic
Mhm.
animal, and your thinking is to like I should kill that tough.
The
Yeah.
slaughter him. Yes. Yeah.
What kind of low vibration thinking about how
Yes.
low could you be to see an animal like an
And
elephant
and
or
I hear the
one?
insult on top of that now. They come in to be the savior for the same animal now.
Yes. Yeah,
Like
Yes.
they are the one now
yeah,
who going to
yeah,
save the animal
yeah,
that they are
yeah,
putting it endangered. They're coming as the
yeah.
savior.
Almost
You
So now
see,
they have quote
all
and
of the big
control now.
and
all
we
of the
reason
big
about
five.
this before too, right? Think about his
Yeah.
psychology. The king of the
Yes,
jungle is a white man swinging on a vine. The king of the jungle.
Tarzan. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, white man, you know.
So I come to save everybody now. Yes, I must save
Yeah,
the
yeah,
animal.
yeah,
I must save the
yeah,
people. I must save
yeah,
the artifacts. I must
yeah.
save the
Yeah,
wildlife.
Charlie.
Everything.
I
A
was
white
saying
man.
before that Tarzan, he came from Europe and get dropped off there. And all
Yes,
of a sudden, this European can talk to the animals.
Yeah,
yes, I am.
And
yeah,
people who are there who are live there for millions of years
Yeah,
cannot talk to
no,
them. And this man
and
no.
just
man, nyam, lion, nyam, we have.
I have people who still believe that to this day.
yeah man.
Yes,
The
but that
psychology
It's
too
a
maintain
part of
wicked.
the propaganda,
whiteness
I know. It's a part of the
Yeah,
propaganda, I know.
programming. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
man, a part of the
psychology.
propaganda.
Yes,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
man.
And we as Africans, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's education or because we are around the animals, but I get used to them. We don't
Hmm.
really, they don't really understand
Yes,
the ecological, like how it's connected, like we are all connected. Because
right.
if
Balance.
you take away these
Yes.
animals, the whole
Hmm.
landscape change. The whole landscape
Hmm.
Yes.
change. I was listening to this person, right? Because of poachers, they killed a lot of elephants. So no
Hmm.
elephant was there. And the place turned desert. Where the elephant used to be, become a desert, like become a desert,
Hmm.
and nothing's I go there and I say, oh that, the elephant them gone, and things that because the elephant them gone, things should have grown because the elephant them eat them. But
Yes.
it's not so it work. It's
No.
not so it work. The elephant
The
them walk
cycle
and trample them droppings, and the droppings, you know what I mean, they
grow.
eat.
Fertilize the
And when
soil.
the
So
elephant them
that is
walk,
called
them loosen the soil, them dig them loosen the soil, and help the plant by the things them and them grow again. It's
that is
all
called
connected.
pollination. That is called
Yeah.
pollination,
It
Okabongo, and
it
and
all
and
connected, Bridging. So we take out the things that
Sustainable.
yeah, it's all connected. It's a whole
Yes, man.
ecosystem. So you can't
That's
have people.
why
Go on, brother.
our policy have to be comprehensive. Our revolution have to be comprehensive. It can't be isolated. We really can't isolate one aspect from another aspect, When you
Mm-mm.
look on it, the solution have to encompass all these areas. Our legislators and scientists solution have to be holistic. You know what I mean? We have to um account for all these aspects in our solution moving forward. That's why even in our struggle we say we charge genocide and ecocide because we realize now say the tie to the environment and the people is linked. So we
Mhm.
can't disconnect them
Mhm.
in our move to in our revolution, in our liberation and our solution. It have to include all aspect. You don't see
Oneness.
it. Yes,
Oneness.
we can't take these approach that these Eurocentric approach where if you
Mhm.
talk about dog a dog alone you talk about. No, sir.
Mhm. No,
Mm.
The dog is
oneness.
connected. And you talk about elephant. Elephant is connected to the land. It attached
Yes,
Mhm.
to the vegetation, the water
yes.
supply. It attached to everything.
Connect to it.
It has to be comprehensive.
Yes,
It
I.
must. It
Yes.
must.
and that's
So
why I would say life is the greatest teacher, and life is simple.
mhm,
Nature has its way of doing things, and once you tamper with that, once you interfere with that,
mhm.
it will destabilize the ecosystem and it will create a problem. And a lot of the problems that we are seeing now, where climate change and all these things are happening, is as a result of this tampering with nature
Absolutely.
because
Yes.
some wise guy think they can manipulate everything
Mhm.
and there is no consequence.
I have a
Because
question. The,
mhm.
the ants colony, any research paper has been published on it? What affect it about the biodiversity of
Yeah,
that
man,
region?
it have affect pan the body. So it's some big ants, and that's why it's you know, it's the sought after, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
them big and them is a different species and them call them the gardeners, them very big. So them in Europe and Asia them want them as pets, right?
As
So
pet.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
pet, yeah, it's
yeah,
a pet
yeah, yeah.
man. It's
Wow.
pet time.
You
So them
have
have them as
collectors, man,
yeah, them have them as
Collectors.
pet.
who pay a
Ah.
premium price for them.
But as we say in Brother Delani, everything is connected, because the ants them help to regenerate the soil, and to make
Yes.
oxygen go pass through the soil, you
And
understand?
soften the soil up. Yes.
Yeah, it's connected. So once you take out 2,000 queen, 2,000
No man.
queen.
No man. No man. That's sickening, man. Mm-mm. On every level, man. Mm-mm. These people are a threat to humanity, to species, to blouse and skirt, And that's the
For
nature
years,
of capitalism.
Give me a second there.
for years they've
Mm-hmm.
been tampering with the flora and
Mm-hmm.
fauna of
Yes.
Africa. And
Yes.
they've managed to control everything. And they've used all the strategies in the world to control everything. And that's why I said the African Union, they must forget some teeth.
Yes.
If they never
We
born with no teeth, they must go buy some teeth and start
and
bite.
yes. And I think we need to have some comprehensive curriculum in our school system to prepare our children to know that they are the custodian of the ecology and how the ecology works and how we as humans tie into the ecology and how we begin to solve the problem of the ecology, we solve the problem of our own community as humanity. You know what I'm saying? So I think we have to bring forward that type of thinking. See, and uh, uh, Teacher Mayat, you mentioned about the corporation them, and many of these corporations, they are so huge that they have their own school system, where they are teaching the youth them, like for instance, in the oil refinery or chemical industry, they actually build their own school to teach the children or teach the student them how to handle the chemicals and how to advance, teach them management skills and scientific skills. And we have to keep mandating that. See, but in even in within that, this curriculum, we have to make sure that we put the environmental factors. And for many years, they they have been able to go around what they call environmental impact, the environmental impact of these corporations, and no proper assessment being done. We have to insist, and these are some of the things that the AU can insist that every company that's going to interact with the environment have to do an environmental impact assessment
Right.
before they get any licensing to operate in Africa.
Standard. Standard.
Standard.
But I think, right, going back to what we talking about, anything you removing from its natural environment is having a ecosystem collapse eventually. It has an
Hmm.
ecosystem collapse because we live in this universal oneness.
Hmm.
Everything matters to something else. So that ants, some other insect or predator is dependent on that ants for their survival as well. When that is
Thank
not
you.
there, that thing now does not exist anymore and it's a ripple
Hmm.
effect. You having a real ecosystem collapse because we don't understand as human beings that we everything is connected, right? We do not
Yes,
understand
sir.
that because we always think in this individual, is you, is this and that. But there really is no this and that.
Yeah,
It
because
really
Rasta always say
isn't.
everything is everything. See
Everything
it.
is everything. That's
You
real.
know,
Is this one
real.
one understanding that we must come to? But it will take a lot for human
Hmm.
beings to come to
Yes.
these understandings because they live in this illusionary state all the time. They always think they are apart from everything else.
Hmm.
Human beings think they are apart from everything else around them
Yes. And not a part of the
and not
ecosystem.
a
They
part
are
of it.
above and up
Yeah.
away from it. Yes, yes.
And
It's
we
the
talk
most
about,
ignorant thing, Roots.
we talk
It's the
about,
most ignorant thing.
we talk about, people taking ants out of Africa. And people will laugh and say, yeah, must steal a little ants. I mean,
No,
yeah,
Roots.
we have billions of ants. Let them steal it, go on with the ants, man. But what we should know, the stealing, the illegal trade of animals out of Africa is a $1 billion enterprise.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars is made,
Yeah.
from from the hunts, the birds,
Mhm.
the elephant
Bees.
tusk for ivory,
Yes,
for the rhino horn,
Mm-hmm.
all these
yes.
things. It's a $1 billion enterprise.
$1 billion.
Now people
Yes,
are getting
man.
rich outside of
Mm.
Africa from these things.
Yes,
You know what I
man.
mean?
People put up sitting on the wall to
Billions
blows
of
and
dollars
spread.
have been made for these things.
Stuff animal on the wall,
You have the,
as
you have,
trophy.
yeah, you have these Asians, Chinese, and Japanese
Yes.
buying the ivory, and buying whatever say it give them
Give them vitality.
aphrodisiac. You know what I mean? Or some
Yeah.
superstition they buy the animals
Yes.
for some superstitious
Mm.
thing. Gonna make them stronger, gonna make
Yeah,
them smarter.
I
You know what
eat
I
the
mean?
egg and them sitting there and the
Yeah,
animal
Yeah.
the
and
bird eggs and them things, they say it give them
But
some kind
but
of
but to the
strength.
point where they don't even have control. The rhinos, for example, most Western rhinos or all Western rhinos are extinct. Man doesn't have control over himself either,
mm-mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you
Yeah.
keep taking and taking and taking until there's no more.
No more left. Yeah.
There's no more left.
Biodiversity been
Yeah, so
depleted.
you're talking about
Mm-hmm.
whole collapse of local environments, but they're not even
And
considering that local environments
Nah.
collapse under these
Yeah.
conditions.
And you could have some understanding if these people were murdering these animals because they were hungry. Like you're hungry, so
Yes.
you say you kill an elephant because you're
Yes.
hungry, you want to feed
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
You kill an elephant and leave him to rotten because
Rotten to
you
blood.
need a tusk, Reggie. You need that
Yeah.
tusk from the elephant. Oh, is that?
Yeah, it's sickening, man. It's sickening.
Oh,
When
is that?
I see some of the documentaries, I see the big old majestic animal there, just a rat like
It's
dog.
a
You know
rotten
what I mean?
because the man want the tusk.
Toss,
Eh?
toss
And,
gone.
and, 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 and hear
Because
this.
him wife, I say now go and good.
If you
Yeah.
if you witness a herd of elephants in the wild and you see and or you hear first, it is here first, the crackling of trees where they're breaking trunks for the young ones, and you see that, it's one of the most fascinating things you'll ever see.
Mm,
Yeah, the sound alone it will stay in your mind. How these
Yeah,
things
man.
are
mm.
naturally in the environment, and you want to interfere with that?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. And
We
the other thing
bypass the place.
when call trophy hunting, where
Yes, man.
them have
On
give
the
them
wall,
feed.
man. On the wall, let us have a whole gallery of
Yeah,
animals
man.
on the wall. To show us a boy, oh, me a big hunter, you know. You know, see it. We have
And,
Oh,
and,
everything
and
there.
listen, sometimes
man
when
did
you
this.
see the animals
People,
retaliating, you happy, you know. You happy because you want to see them retaliate against men in the environment.
Hmm.
Yeah,
You
man.
do
But,
because you're
but
out of place.
what do you see one of them yam, one of the big hunter them, they say, boy, oh, him a bad hunter. And then
Yeah,
him become the hunted.
a
And
lion.
Yeah, man.
you
it
have
yam him,
people,
yeah.
you have
Everybody and
people,
the
you
people
know,
them celebrate to say yes. You finally get yam.
Yeah,
you
man.
have people that fight for the right to hunt, you know.
Yes,
Yes,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yes.
The
And
right to hunt.
lobbying. Yes,
Yeah.
lobbying. And
Me
lobby
some
for
man
it.
but I think in South Africa, one of the arguments say the man them will come to trophy hunting and them help to pay the people them we are protect the thing. And I say,
All
no
that
man, I have to be a better
capitalism,
way.
man.
I have to do a better way
Fools.
than that.
Yes.
I have to be a better way.
Have to be.
I have to do a better
You
way.
see.
You have to make a man kill some of the animals and can pay some money so you can protect the
No,
rest.
sir.
From some other
No.
people who want to kill some too. It
He
doesn't make
can't
sense
come
to me.
look. We can't give him a binocular for look, but he can't kill nothing. Can't
Yes,
come look.
man. Look,
He if you
man.
come look. Yes.
And kill
And
and
we,
gone with
and we
one
can build
lion
some we
head.
can build some platform where you can go up there and we'll give you a little telescope for go on, scope out the place and get to video and go back in your yard. And you can't come them but you want to shoot no rifle and kill no animal. You have
Mm-hmm.
to outlaw them sitting there,
Af-
Rasta.
Brother Lana, we say Africa for Africans, man. And when we say
Mm-hmm.
Africa for Africa, we not talk about humans alone.
It's a big business.
Yeah.
It's everything African.
Yes.
It's a
Yes, I
big
am.
Because
business
you want to
because
eat, you come to Africa, and then so comes all we have one exit plan to fit find them place there. To go back to
Yes,
Africa, so when
man.
them want to see it, they must come Africa come see it too.
Come see
Yeah,
me.
so
Yes, I am.
I plan to exit
Mm-hmm.
too. Yeah, man,
Yes,
because
man.
we see what going on in them place there. I saw them
Mm-hmm.
think, I saw them view all everything African. If it was dead,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
If it
Yes.
was dead
And them
on
things
spot.
they can buy out everything because you see greed and capitalism. Them have this arrogance that them can buy out everybody. You know,
Mm-hmm.
see it. And when people
Mm-hmm.
poor now, not they are vulnerable enough, they're easier to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
see. So that's why
Them
them prey upon with vulnerability.
pray for the
Mm-hmm.
vulnerability, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Because
It's just like the people them in our community. They didn't call them just them prey upon the vulnerability with them see, cause them smart and them see the gaps and then prey upon it. You
and
know?
me and Binjo was reasoning earlier too. And we are saying one thing with we as Africans, we are very welcoming to everybody. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We have problem from on, because
To
we are
our
so nice
detriment,
to everybody and we see everybody like
we
everybody
say
can be a
we
to
friend.
our detriment.
we
To
have to
our
get some
detriment, man.
corruption.
We
We have
welcome
to
them
get
with
some
open
corruption.
arms and want to share with them. And when
Yes.
them say, "Yeah, this nice man, we are sharing, man. Give me one life.
Yes.
Give me all of
We
it,
have
man.
to
Give me
get
And
all of
some
it."
corruption. We have to get
but,
some
but
corruption.
no, we don't want the corruption. We just want some righteousness. We want some justice. You
And
see,
justice and righteousness, yeah,
but
man.
indigenous people around the world has always been welcoming to the predator nation. Them, sit down and
Yeah.
have dinner with them, and them I say, boy, them people are so nice, man. We can take them gold and silver easy. We can take
Easy.
them easy. Look at them and say share it with. Cause them the hospitality where we are give them not that mind in mind.
No, sir.
But
They
if we
do
didn't know,
nice.
but if we didn't know, then the slaughter them for the first come, and we'd have probably been all right. But we
But,
never
but
know.
Brother Delani, indigenous people are like that because of their maturity, right? In
Yes,
existence. That's why they're fathers. So fathers
right,
always want to take care of children. No matter how
right,
they see them, they always want to give to them. They want to share with them. That's who we
yes.
are. We are
Even
fathers. We always
even with the
invited.
animals, even with the animals, we try to
Yes,
accommodate the animals.
We
So
yes,
are
what about
sir.
paternalistic
another
and
human?
maternalistic.
Yes, the other human come, we treat them the same. We treat them with
Yes,
love. We
yeah.
try to welcome them, but they
Because
can
that's who we
turn
are.
against us.
Take
Yeah, that's
advantage
Turn
who
of
we
it.
against
are.
us
Yeah, they take the kindness,
for
forgiveness.
weakness.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
man.
yeah, man.
But
A terrible
hopefully,
thing.
the government. I which country the ants them are get mine from?
Kenya.
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 Oh yes, 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 yes. Yeah, Kenya has been very accommodating. I've been. It's just such a coincidence that I've been observing Kenya for the last year or two. Just
Mm,
on a social observation,
mhm.
mainly through YouTube because I watch a lot of
Yeah, man.
Kenyan who are on YouTube now because it has created a source of transformation because of the revenue sharing that YouTube has done.
Mm-hmm.
The little money when YouTube give them a transform the lives of entire communities. And I'm watching them and they're going through a lot of the growing pains, that indigenous people go through in developing. And when the resources come and can see a dream come to reality, I can see it. But what I do know is they're very welcoming and they're very naive towards white supremacy. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to say that because that's my observation. I don't mean it in no
Let's see.
offensive way.
Mm, mm.
See, but because we are so used to white supremacy, we are very cautious, but they are very open heart. Like we said earlier, we're so welcoming. So they come in and they can exploit the white. Right now, white people with local money can go there and go dominate. I just saw the thing set up right now.
And
You
I
know,
saw them
see,
steal. I saw them steal.
yeah, yeah. You
Because
know,
I was
see,
watching one of them, and she was talking about the land, and she said, nobody own the land is our land. You know what I mean?
yes.
Nobody need to
Mm-hmm.
have the paper, nobody need to own it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You want a house, you build a house on the land,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yes.
a native
Right.
land. But you know, so when white people come to now, they must say, boy,
Uh,
sell the
that a
land
change
and
right
buy
now
land. And you know what I mean?
because land has skyrocket price in all the place. I'm watching a place called Nabohansi on the border
Mm-hmm.
with Kenya, with border with
Yeah. With
Tanzania there.
Tanzania. Yeah.
Where Tanzania there, so the land has skyrocket because well for development are go on
Mm-hmm.
because the youth them now as them get a smartphone, them open a channel, a YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
and it a genuine because people want to see nature, you know. There's a
Yeah.
big
Yes,
Yeah.
man.
demand to see the natural habitat and how people are live. Every day I got water hole and cook and take care of themselves with them little children, the crops. And people sit down and watch those things day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because those are some of the life that people would like to be living.
you're
Yeah, man.
right.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it's
Simple life,
normal,
Yeah.
it
man.
is simple, and it
Yes.
is
Awesome.
within
Simple life,
nature.
man.
And you can see the people them are so nice. The people them are so nice and easygoing. And you can see when a foreigner send them a change and send them a thing and how it affect them. And see how they can be easily manipulated by those type of things. See, so you have to be very careful. The
Mm-hmm.
Kenyan people need to be very careful. I mean, all across
All
Africa
across the country.
need to
Remember,
be very
the
careful.
same thing up in the West, where
Yes,
we come and welcome into them and, I mean, share with them and live
yes,
with them. And then all of a sudden,
yeah,
them start take
yeah.
out Africans out and carry them go on them plantations.
And the thing about it now, in Africa, so them say things are going. Them can sell a little change down there and buy up whole heap of land.
Yeah, yeah.
Thousands, hundreds of acre town before you know it, them won the whole bloody town.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
must be
Yeah.
very, very careful of how them open up these land policies and these access.
Well,
Like
one
I
thing
said,
I would say though, brother Lani, in most
yeah.
of Africa, they don't really have a buy land policy, right? Most of the governments
Hmm.
don't allow ownership. What they allow is long-term leasing. So they
Yes.
allow 99-year
Hmm.
leases, right? And
Mm-hmm.
most of
Yes.
them have these structures in place, including Kenya, that whole East Africa region where, you could get a lease, right? But there are
Hmm.
restrictions on how you get a lease. Now, the Caucasian, he's smart, he's cunning, he's already figured out how to do that because when you go to these countries, most of the businesses are
It's a
owned by
sly old fox.
Caucasians, right? Most of the
Hmm.
businesses. So as a business owner now, you could do business, they'll give you a lease, they'll do this, do that. So they end up controlling large swaths of areas.
Yes.
Large swaths of areas.
Hmm.
Is how do we figure out now? Because how we control that then. You have to figure out how to control that
Yes.
too,
Yes.
because
Yes.
that 99-year lease thing passed from generation to generation.
Generation,
Mm-hmm.
and they got
Yeah.
the opportunity to extend it as well. I
Yes.
think though,
Yeah.
one area should be off limit. Those safaris should be owned by the national country itself.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Nationally
That should
owned.
be that should never be. They are in white hands at the moment.
Yes, they are. They
European
are.
hands. They should
Yes.
go over to the country and they run it and minister it on the behalf of the
Yes.
people of that country.
Yes. Yes.
Off limit,
Agreed.
no lease, no nothing should be on
Nothing
those
at
those
all,
those
man. Nothing at
um
all,
Agreed.
man.
and those
Because we are talking about the heartbeat, man. The
yes man.
heartbeat of this country,
Yeah
If you
man. Look
lose
at
them thing,
The
them brethren,
Serengeti and then place there.
oh God, yeah, man.
So
Hey.
And what they do, brother Lulani, is a real is funny because the people who they representing on the ground, of course, is Africans, right? But it's
hmm
white people or Caucasians own these companies.
that
But
exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
So it's an illusionary thing too, because
Yeah.
you'll go into the Serengeti and stuff, but most of the people who are your tour guides, of course, are
Hmm.
Africans,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
They representing the company,
Me-
but the owners of these companies are more than likely Europeans.
Europeans.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
I know personally. I know the story of the one in Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
The one in Kenya, he was one. His father was a colonial officer,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'm not mistaken, he was born in Kenya, but he went back to Europe. And when they was traveling back and forth, they saw the opportunity, and him started the safari. Now
Mm-hmm.
him have over 2,000 offices around the world, you know,
There you go.
and they're employing over 200,000 people in that safari industry as the
See?
biggest safari employer in Africa because of
Mm-hmm.
the colonial ties of his father.
Of course. Of course.
So
Mm.
they saw an opportunity and they exploited it from early.
All over, man. All
Yeah,
over.
man. The government should
Yeah,
never
man.
allow that to happen. Never.
So we are say, you know, African Union need to
Hmm.
organize the country, even if it's regional blocks. We start organizing regional blocks because
Hmm.
of the differences that exist among us. But there are more similarities that we can connect on. So we need to see a push in this direction. The black print is already there. We can see what is happening in the Sahel region. And the Sahel region has shown growth and improvement and development in the short space of time. We have seen the change in the regime. So this is a model that can be used across the continent. And the time is right for this to be happening now. There is a particular story that stood out this week for me. And it's a story that came out of Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is that we have a tribe in Ethiopia that was celebrating the New Year's Eve. And to me, that was something special, really special, because it is something that really warms my heart. And the nature of it was that it's a traditional festival that they call the Fichi Tambalala. And this festival was held in the Sorisa Gundameli area of Awasa city. And it's a cultural festival which is based on cultural values, family values, and the elimination of social injustices. And this was recognized by UNESCO in 2008 as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The fascinating thing about this is that the people do not have a fixed date for New Year's Eve. The elders and the astrologers known as the iota, they would carefully study the movements of the moon and the stars and determine the date of the the New Year Eve. And this is something that is special to me because I see a lot of people talk about philosophies, but one of the greatest thing that we have as African is astrology, and we use that to influence our decisions and the things that we do. We even use it to plants because based on the moon, you can tell when it is time to plant underground or to plant a plant on top of that bears on top of the earth or plant something that grows under the ground. Otherwise, if that doesn't happen, that plant will not mature. And if it do mature, the production is gonna be less, the size is gonna be small, and the yield is also gonna be small. So that was something special for me. I don't know if the item cite the video, but based on what we were talking about or
Talking
what I
about.
was reasoning about, what the item think about this moment.
I think it's a perfect segue because it shows how indigenous people understand their role in this whole existence. They
Hmm.
use astrology. They use the earth. They
mhm.
use everything available to them in this one decision making. These
Yes.
people. This is how
And,
human beings are
mhm,
supposed to live, how they're supposed to observe their environment's eye in this total unison. That is a
mhm.
perfect segue into
and,
human understanding.
and for I, it's a great example of preserving the cultural diversity of Africa. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? We have to preserve that diversity and that cultural richness that is being watered down by whiteness, Western imperialism, you know what I'm saying, and the whole freakiness of the Western world. At least we have no say there's some cultural um, 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 integrity that is being maintained across the
Hmm.
continent. You know, see
Hmm.
it because if we not be careful, European culture will penetrate and break down everybody culture, and we all be celebrating European style and dressing and talking and living and and celebrating European culture at the detriment of our own cultural
Hmm.
diversity. So it all tie in
Hmm.
biodiversity, cultural diversity, the preservation of such. We have to be we have to be rigorous about that. See it, vigilant.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
I.
Although
Yeah.
all those ceremonies, wherever they are across Africa, need to be captured, preserved, and strengthened so they can live another 500 or 1,000 years. See it.
And I tell you
I live on
something, there's
forever.
something that's so moving about
Ever.
those
Yes.
ceremonies too. That think about it, these things become unique to human beings, you know. They
Hmm.
become unique when you look at it. You looking in the past, so to speak, you know,
Hmm.
but in the present. But
Yes.
experiencing it is even more
Yes.
fascinating than seeing it.
Dr. Ben did write a book called Cultural Genocide,
Side.
and it just show you how Western culture is trying to not only genocide the people, but
The
genocide the
culture.
culture,
Too.
and then relegate our culture to museum while their culture thrives.
Right.
So it even goes into our children growing up. When we design our clothes, we design to reflect their culture. When
Mm-hmm.
we design our shirt, our pants, our hats, our expression, it's reflecting a root that is rooted in them. When we should be rooting our cultural expression in our African heritage.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we should take our inspiration from. But when you control a mind, your children can grow up and create cartoon, and all of the cartoon them is European characters,
Mm-hmm.
when you control the mind. So it's deep. So we have to be vigilant on that, my brother. That's the point,
Wake up, wake up,
Yes,
We have to be. We have to
wake
yeah,
up.
be. You know what I
man.
mean? As we say,
Mm,
Africa for Africans. So we say
yes,
Africa for Africans and Pan Africanism. As I say,
yes,
if it's a cartoon, it should be African. If it's your clothing, it
yes,
should be African. And
yes.
that's how we are gonna get a respect and a reverence for what is our
Hmm.
what is ours. And that's so comes
Yeah,
we talk about the animal trafficking. So you're gonna know that these animals are your own and you're not supposed to leave. You know what I mean? You have
yes.
more, you know what I
Hmm.
mean,
Hmm.
more they belong, more belonging then. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Yeah. So a man can just come and say, oh, him want this and you help him move, kill off the animal them and
Yeah.
take away the things them and carry them away.
Just forget that change.
Create a
Yeah,
change. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It
yeah,
mean more
yeah.
to it. I say Afro mean more to it than that change.
That
You know what I mean?
exactly,
And in the
exactly.
long run, because if you notice that most countries have moved towards tourism now.
Hmm.
The oil countries, them see them have moved towards tourism. You know what I mean? All the European countries, them big on
Yeah.
tourism. You know what I mean? If you take out things out of Africa, you take out the culture, you take out all the things and carry them go somewhere else. Nobody want to come to Africa to see them again because they can see them in Europe. You know what I
And
mean?
speaking of tourism, if I'm not mistaken, is the largest industry in the world. We can fact
Mhm.
check that. I think it's the
Mm.
largest industry in the
Mm.
world. So, I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised
Human
if it is.
yeah,
migration.
Yeah.
see it,
And
and
and and, and of course, Jamaica is one of the top destinations when it comes on to
Mm-hmm.
tourism, and it tops a lot of the gangs and the awards among some of the top countries that you can think of in the world that have good
Yes,
tourist
the whole
destinations.
But
the whole
we talking
Afrobean,
about
the,
culture, right?
the
I
whole
want to
Afro,
say this
yes.
about culture. Even though we as Africans, they extract everything, we as Africans still have the most dominant culture, you know. Even no
Mm-hmm.
matter what they do, our culture is what dominates, you know. There's no other human being or culture right now that is not rooted in African experience.
Mm-hmm.
It is, but
As
what
the
happens
roots,
Yes,
is
as the
they
root, you know.
control
yes,
the revenues.
yes,
They control how it's distributed. For
yes.
example, if you look at the American black culture, African culture, it's one of the most dominant cultures in the earth.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Anywhere you go in
uh,
this earth,
yes. And if you look at the in terms of continuity
yeah,
and authenticity, uh,
authenticity.
on the continent of Africa, cultural integrity as keeping intact. If you look at the Maasai
Mm-hmm.
and even those in Ethiopia and
Yeah,
some parts of Nubia, and even you can see the wall is intact,
yes,
remains fully intact.
continuity,
The
continuity.
continuity
Yeah,
fully intact, and there's
fully intact.
very few places in the world where the culture still remain
Yeah.
intact.
Yeah.
See, so we have to
The
give thanks for
problem
that.
with what's happening is we don't have control of even our own culture. They exploit our culture. They
Exactly, and
exploit
the
us. We are
exposure,
exploited.
and even exposure to the culture
Yes.
is something that we have to work on,
Mm-hmm.
especially we as in the Western world, and we're now in control of school system, and we can control our imagery. We have to ensure that our children see the imagery of African culture in the natural state, in the original state, and the authentic state, so we can know the difference between something watered down and something real.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we have to, mm, you know, I consider the part they say, oh, that is just a watered down version, or that is the authentic version.
Yeah.
So because the standard is constantly being set by white supremacy,
Right.
their media, their media, Hollywood, magazine, social media, they kind of like setting what the real culture is, but that's not what. That is a reflection of a distorted culture that
Mm-hmm.
we are seeing. But there is an authentic culture there that is our responsibility to showcase that. And we can
Mm-hmm.
use it as a source to create new culture as we move forward. Because culture is an ongoing development as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
man.
man. And I think I
Yeah,
want to say
man.
one thing about the regional thing where you say earlier, teacher Matt. One of the reasons why we have to move regionally and even continentally, again, is because if you begin to implement these policies as an individual country, they can easily isolate you, condemn you, relegate you, marginalize you. And that is that's the protection and the antidote that regional and continental um, alliances protect you from. That's the great thing. Like Jamaica cannot move alone. It has to move as a block with
Mm-hmm.
the Afrobean, because they will isolate you and marginalize you. See, just like how they've done with Cuba. See, they try to isolate Cuba
Mm-hmm.
from the CARICOM and pick Cuba
Mm-hmm.
off. See, but if we stand in solidarity with Cuba, it can't happen.
Divide and rule,
So,
them game thing, them game for quite a while,
solidarity.
Divide and
His
Solidarity
rule.
is the
Majesty
key.
said we have to organize and centralize.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And
one.
this is another reasoning from the chat class. It's different from the way most people think and the way most people view things, but it's worth looking into because we cannot separate ourselves from our identity. It is who we are. And to do otherwise, we are fooling ourselves. We're not fooling anyone else. So we are asking people if the reasoning resonate with them, or you find a content in the trad class that you can identify with, please share it with someone who you think may be emboldened and benefit in finding their own identity. Because at the end of the day, we feel a sense of satisfaction and freedom within I and I self being able to step forward and do the work that most people don't want to do. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Dada, next time you come out with domino class, man. So, you know, them no beat you so bad when they play domino again.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Give thanks, brother Dolani,
Yeah, man, give
as
thanks.
usual.
Always an honor to be in the class, you know. Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Respect, man. And do check out the
Yes,
clear
sir.
thinking as well, because we over there do thing, you know.
After yeah,
One
clear
Yeah,
hour
thinking,
man.
in,
man. Clear
for
thinking
more
every
Yeah,
time,
episode.
man.
man.
I each
Yes,
one
I.
teach one, you know.
You don't
Check
know.
it out.
Respect, man.
Yeah, man. Who
No.
want you leave two African scientists with the people and before we jump out of the chat class, brother Dolani? So some name where them can look out for and some
Well,
interested
I
work that they
mean,
have done.
there is it depends on what field you are going to, because if you're talking about
Inventors
even
and scientists.
all right, I'm going to give you something that a lot of people may not even realize. The whole idea of vaccination. You know, we have inoculation and
Mm-hmm.
vaccination and
Mm-hmm.
protecting from disease. A lot of that was pioneered from West Africa, you know, and was brought to the Western world by those who were enslaved. When smallpox broke out in places like Boston and in place there, it was an enslaved African by the name of um, um, the enslaver was named Mattis, but the name slipped me at the particular African name, but he from West Africa. And he showed them how to inoculate themselves against smallpox. He said when the
Mm-hmm.
smallpox dry up, you take it and you take the dry up version and you cut and you inoculate the new person. And him share that to the enslavers. And the enslaver take it to the convention and show the rest of the European them. And he was able to save thousands of people in Boston from dying from smallpox. Um, the name, the name the on the tip of my tongue, I have a very
Is it
funny
one
name. You know.
Simus?
Say it again, yes. It have a name
One
like that.
Simus?
It have a name. You know, when you spell the first part, because
Onesimus.
Onesimus.
Elysium.
Onesimus. That's
Onesimus. All right.
Onesimus. That is
Mm-hmm.
his name. He the one who saved them from annihilation from smallpox. He brought that technology from West Africa. So
And
keep
Mm-hmm.
that
that in
was in
our
the
Bible.
early 1700.
1700,
Right.
my people. So I just want the people to know that we
Yeah,
are the pioneer of vaccination and inoculation from diseases. So that's
Yeah,
one
man.
on the shelf.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Onesimus. That
I
is his
want to leave
name.
them. I want to leave them at one too. Louis Latimer, the
Ah,
inventor
yes.
of the filament that gives the light bulb the ability
Yes.
to light.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
But
yes.
Yes.
Edison get the whole of the credit for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. But
Yeah.
the
Yeah, but
people
he
have to know
He
these
invented the
was
things, you
asked
know?
the hard way, though, man.
the
I say hard way,
carbon
you know.
filament. Yeah, but people
Yes.
have to know, right? Even though
Yeah,
it's say
that's
Edison,
out
they
there. That's
really
out
have to
there.
know. Yeah.
Yes.
Tell
Yes.
them.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
And Cotton Mattis was a minister, you know.
Yeah.
Enslaved at the same time, you know. And him go get the credit, but then him write in him diary or him get it from. So we know say the enslaved African teach him the bloody technique. You know,
Yeah.
see.
Mhm.
Yeah, you see.
Yes,
Come
sir.
on.
But them not have no
Mm.
need to create anything because them not gonna work, you see. So the people who do the work have to
Create the whole
invent and
thing, you know,
create and
see.
find
Yeah.
easier way and
Yeah,
better methods of getting the
yeah.
work done. So
Mm-mm.
one perfect balance. Big up
Yes,
the
I
idea
am.
Yes,
itself.
I give
Yeah,
thanks
Yeah,
for that.
man.
man.
Like,
Art
share,
of love.
subscribe.
Yeah, man.
Leave a comment. Yes, I.
Yes, sir. Give
Respect,
thanks.
respect, respect.